what our strength staff and nutrition staff has done. Coach Schmidt, his strength and conditioning staff, Ethan Bauer, his nutrition staff. We've dramatically changed the bodies from when we first got here, certainly, but even as we finished last season. Last night, in our team meeting here before we get out on the grass today, the opportunity to just, showcase some of the dramatic improvements that our guys have made was a lot of fun, and certainly the skill spots, that's absolutely true. The jumps that, Trey Flowers has made, or Cedric Tillman, even in their body and how they can function and play. Then you look at the line of scrimmage, too. You look at Elijah Simmons and what he looks like, and so really proud of what the guys did since January 24th when they got back.
Patrick and Vince.
Coach, you've touched on Cameron Miller, his ability to maybe help you guys in different places. He was at safety today. What went into that position switch from receiver, and what are maybe his short-term and long-term outlook there?
From the time that we recruited him, viewed him as a football player. That's how he views himself, too. He doesn't really care what he's playing, and as we got through spring ball, it just felt like his skill set, opportunity to compete, make an impact, was probably on the other side of the football here the earliest, and his attitude and want to are unquestioned by anybody, his players in the locker room, our staff, and excited to see him grow here during the course of training camp. It's his first time playing that position. A lot of things are happening. It's different, but he's been really diligent in the building. Spent a bunch of extra time this summer learning what we're doing schematically.
Josh, NFL teams in fall training camp are now wearing those Guardian caps that you guys have been wearing over the helmets for a while. Yeah. Has your health staff shared any sort of stats or feedback as to how much that's up in the student athlete with the helmet contact?
Yeah, you talk about concussions, repetitive hits. I think player safety is at the forefront now of what the NCAA is trying to do, what everybody's trying to do across the country, the NFL as well. We've been doing it here for a long time. We've been fortunate. At the end of a training camp or end of the season, we always go back with our medical and strength and conditioning staff and look at the injuries. Concussions are a major part of what we look at. How do we prevent? How do we put them in a position to stay healthy in the immediate but long term too? And our medical staff does a fantastic job. I wish I was smart enough to recall every stat on that. I can't. There is a dramatic improvement in keeping kids healthy on the concussion side from those caps.
Being in Eric.
Josh, just how much has Jalen Hyatt improved from the final day of last season to today, first day of camp?
Yeah, even in the middle part of last year, his focus and attention to detail, he understood that it needed to change, and he started making those changes. Dramatically different from the time that we got back in January. We talked earlier about guys that have changed their body. Like, he's added a ton of size and strength, maturity to his frame. I think that's gained a lot of confidence for him in how he plays with a physical presence, and that can be in one-on-one matchups. It could be blocking on the perimeter. It can be the way he presents himself and finishes plays when he has the ball in his hands too. All of those factors, give him the ability to have a big year for us this year.
Josh, could there be a situation this season when, to help with pass protection, maybe you put Warren or Fan back in the backfield on third downs, or maybe kind of utilize them in that role in the backfield as well?
Not right now. The running backs that we have on campus, guys that have been spending time, want to develop them here through training camp, give them the opportunity to showcase that they're going to play at a really high level and earn trust from our coaching staff and from the players around them in pass pro, and when the ball's in their hands too. Today, day one, without watching the film, I thought the two young running backs, Justin and Dylan, had a really good day. There's some things that they did that popped out to me as a coach, and some of that was with the ball in their hands, some of it was without it.
Team in the back.
Hey, Coach, seeing Brew out there practicing today, if he gets cleared, what does he bring to the table to this team? And also, Squirrel White looked awfully fast and quick out there. What does he bring as well?
He's not slow, that's for sure. Squirrel's competitive, really smart, mature in the way that he handles himself in the building, in the meeting room, physically taking care of his body, his ability for the game not to be moving too fast, really almost from day one in the way that he's handled what we do offensively. he needs to have a great camp for us and believe that he will. He's truly fearless. He's not the biggest guy, but he is fearless. He's going to stick his face in any physical situation that he needs to. Brew, big, strong, long out on the perimeter. He's learned how to play in our offensive system and how to play from the whistle of the previous snap to the snap of the next one. For him, I think he's gained a much better understanding of that throughout the course of the summer. The first couple weeks of June, so dramatically different than by the time we got to July with him. He's a guy that's played college football, right, and competed at a high level. That maturity is something that is an advantage for him in coming here and transitioning to our football program.
Brent and Austin.
Coach, I know you haven't seen the film, but you've been through a lot of opening days in your career as player, assistant, head coach. What does a good day one look like? When you go watch film in a bit, what do you need to see to say that was a good start? What are you looking for?
Yeah, some of the things you see out on the practice field: efficiency, the ability to take coaching, the ability for players to coach each other. Some of the intangible things that we spent so much time on, and those things showed up, and they showed up today in a really big way. The small things add up to the big things that everybody sees. So I like a lot of what we saw. That some of that I won't even be able to see on the film as we go back. You go back and watch the film, the X's and O's, the fundamentals and technique. You're going to see hopefully a growth from where we finished in spring ball to where they are now, and understanding how to play, and that's different at every position. You want to see functional movement improve, and I thought we saw that. Year two for us as a program. Our players know the standards and expectations. You can hear them talking about it, coaching each other up. I thought just the overall practice flow, the efficiency of everything that we're doing, from staff to medical staff, all that was good to see.
Coach, I'm sure you've seen Wesley Walker and Andre Turntine in summer weight room stuff, but to get out there on the field with them today, what did you see? And then maybe mentally, what did you pick up on that you like about what they bring?
Yeah, I think both are very coachable. They have a high care factor. They have good football IQ and understanding. Wesley, the amount of time that he's been in college football, he's able to take a scheme that he's ran before and transition it into the verbiage that we have. And that way, I think, not seamless, but it's been a fluid transition for him. Made a big play out there today. Want to see those guys compete in every area. That's special teams. It's on the defensive side of the football. There's a lot of opportunity to earn reps on the defensive side of the football. You heard Coach Banks yesterday talk about us having to play more guys to have competition. We need more guys to show that they're going to play at a championship level. But those two guys, bring some of the football movement that we wanted, and they have a high care factor.
Trey and Vince.
Josh, when you look at the transfer portal and how everything's gone down over the last 6 to 12 months, and then you look at a player like Joe Milton, who there could have been opportunities to go try to find potentially another starting role somewhere else. For him to stick with the program, and he was talking about yesterday his relationship with Hendon Hooker, and I know you've talked about that a good amount. But what does that say about somebody like Joe who's willing to stick in, try to fight for that starting job, and like he said yesterday, an ankle sprain away from being the guy?
Yeah, it's a great lesson for everybody in our program. We talk about that. You want to be ready when your opportunity comes and prepare that way to take advantage of it. I think it speaks to the unique relationship that exists in that quarterback room. I believe that it exists in all of our position rooms, but to be able to compete fiercely with somebody, but also be great friends off of the game, outside of the game, speaks to both of their maturity. It speaks to Joe. I think it speaks to the culture of what we have inside of the building as far as a full team inside of that locker room. It speaks to what we're doing offensively, and him believing that he can grow in our system and put himself in the right position long term. And it speaks to his maturity as well, that he's willing to look at the video, have a true sense of, here are the areas that I got to get better to maximize my talent and put myself in a position to be the best player that I possibly can, and being able to willing to go through that process. And you've seen guys that stuck around a year ago with the transition of our football staff. You look at a Theo Jackson a year ago who hadn't played anything but special teams for 5 years, that stays the course, that invests, and then cashes in on that investment on the back end of his career. It's a great testimony to those types of individuals, and it's a great lesson for everybody inside of our program.
Josh, two things I'll ask them one at a time. How do you size up the offensive tackle competition with those main four guys?
Yeah, great competition. Everybody that is competing there is long, they're athletic, and their best football is in front of them. They're in a race to get there as fast as they can. At the end of the day, believe that the depth of that position is going to be important. We're going to need all those guys. That showed up a year ago, too, just as you go through the season.
And how different is Kelsey Pope now as opposed to when he started, earlier and going into the spring? And now that he's been able to kind of get that recruiting, you said that was a little bit different for him at the time.
In the meeting room, on the field, I don't think anybody would say he's much different. Does he grow and get better every single day? Yeah, absolutely. But who he is, how he communicates, how he handles himself, that hasn't, dramatically changed. That is a big reason why we hired him. He was without a doubt the right guy for the job. The recruiting side of it, didn't worry about that. Recruiting is about relationships and being able to show kids that you can help them achieve all their goals and dreams on the field and off the field. There's nobody better suited in college football than him to do that to the wide receiver position.
We'll finish with Wes.
Josh, how much growth and development have you seen from Jeremy Banks since you got here, and what's sort of the next step for him as a player?
Yeah, we talk about accountability. It's one of the core beliefs in any relationship that we have and who we have to be, from coaches to everybody in the building, players included. He's grown a bunch in that. Along with that, I think just the trust of our staff, the process that we're taking him through, him understanding the why of what we're doing. Those are all big factors to creating buy-in with him. And as he continues to grow through this training camp, and he's played a lot of football, but there's still a ton of room of growth for him to maximize his talents and be in the right place at the right time to make the play when it presents himself. Excited to see his development and growth here even during the course of this training camp.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, you guys have a great day.
What was the Wesley Walker play? Did he make a pick? Josh Walker, did he make a pick?
Hello, you kick him off the field? Yes, sir, it was.